big part of the motivation is just showing others that I can do what you can do and possibly do it better. So growing up with one arm, it was tough. Your day-to-day activities are easy for most people. Like learning how to tie your shoes with one arm is hard. To make a sandwich, like just getting dressed was harder for me. But I think the hardest part is the way that other people react. People have doubt in what you can do, and it's easy for that to create doubt in yourself. So when I was younger, I played sports, I would try anything. I wasn't as shy about it, but once I got to those teenage years, I became a lot more self-conscious. And that's when I would stop trying out for teams at school. I didn't want to put myself out there in front of people, and I didn't want to be stared at. I didn't want people to ask me questions. Wearing the long sleeves to school every day, even in the summer. The low self-esteem lasted for a long time. When I was a teenager, I started playing hockey. My second year of hockey, I got the scoring title, which I was pretty proud of because it's, it was a tough accomplishment. I think that's the first time I realized that if I put in the extra effort, I can be competitive with the other kids. I feel like that helped condition me, like not only for like sports, but that helped condition me for life.
So, who did you play with at school today?
Kaylee.
Kaylee.
So you're trying to find like a ball.
Yeah, all of them.
Chase is really into sports right now, learning about different teams with different sports.
I'm a Laker fan. Who do you like?
The Golden State Warriors.
He does not like any of my teams.
Doesn't.
I'm a Raider fan. And what's your football team?
Eagles.
There's several times in my life that I've built extra layers of comfort. And the first big one was when I met my wife. The way she made me feel was just so confident and like loved. And that was like the first time in a real long time that I feel like I'm starting to be comfortable in who I am. I used to drink and I drank too much, so my health was pretty bad. Once I started getting more into my health, COVID hit, the gym shut down. I needed to find an alternative to working out, so for me that was attempting to run. At that time I was about 50 pounds heavier, wasn't in the greatest shape. My first half marathon was the worst experience of my life physically, and as soon as it ended I was like, I don't know if I'll ever do this again. And then the next day I signed up for another half marathon. That was the start to my endurance addiction, really. When I signed up for my first marathon, I actually trained for it. I had my goal time of like, I want to try and come in at 4 hours. And I think my finish time was like 3 hours and 46 minutes. When I crossed that finish line, like the amount of joy that I felt, like having a goal in place, that a training plan that I followed for several months, and just seeing the results from following through with that plan was just very, very rewarding for me. And I love that feeling. Shortly after that is when I started to look into triathlon. My first swim was at a gym, the local gym by my house. I can run a marathon. I have no idea how to swim, but I'm like, I could probably swim 25 yards fairly easy. I only swam about 10 feet. How in the world am I ever gonna swim in a triathlon? In that moment, I was determined, like, if it could be done, I'm gonna figure out how to do it. I love it out here, man, it's beautiful. Leading up to like race day, the nerves were just unreal. I walk over to the buoys to see how far the swim is. I could not see the last buoy. I started kind of panicking a little bit. I'm like, how am I gonna swim this far? As soon as I got in the water, a lot of those fears just went away. If I can finish the swim within the allowed amount of time, I knew that I was gonna become an Ironman. As soon as I got out of the water, the crowd was cheering, and like the response from the crowd was pretty amazing. And then getting on the bike and just that experience of, you know, riding through St. George and just how beautiful it was, and feeling the strength that I had in my legs from all of those hours of training, all of the snow canyon repeat that we did, that was starting to build confidence. Once the bike portion was over and I started the run, that was what I was most confident in. I've been running for years. I knew what I was capable of doing, and with about 4 or 5 miles left, I realized that I was gonna finish with a sub-6, which was not even on my radar. Once I did the math and realized that was gonna happen, I'm running and I'm like almost starting to cry. And just seeing all the hard work, you know, all the fear that I had leading up to this event, and now seeing where I'm at with the results, it was just so rewarding. And as soon as I crossed the finish line, you know, my wife, my kids were right outside the gates waiting for me. I ended up placing first in my division, which was something else I wasn't expecting to do.
Another round of applause.
Within a month, I was signed up for my next 70.3. And that same year, I also ran the Boston Marathon for the first time, and I finished second in my division for Boston Marathon. So it's kind of wild looking at that person versus who I was when I was a teenager. I was just so insecure, and I was afraid to put myself out there. That's how I'm conditioned, is to put forth extra work because I have to. I see it as a superpower. The only limitations you have are the limits that you put on yourself.